My freshman year at Wesleyan, I had just recently joined a fraternity and also was close friends and wanted to be involved with activism on campus, and I saw sort of a gap between being in this organization but also doing this type of work, and I felt there was not enough being done with this community which I was a part of.
I was drawn to this work because I do a lot of direct service work at home where I'm from, and I really wanted to see the other side of it, to see where we could do more in the prevention side other than just dealing with survivors.
I guess you could say that I kind of started off doing anti-bullying work in high school with youth empowerment, and as I got to college and started taking classes at, for my women's studies major through psychology classes, I kind of broadened up my focus a little bit, and then I've also participated in a couple organizations that do youth empowerment, women's empowerment work. So the more I got involved in that, the more I started to realize that these issues definitely need more attention, and I wanted to help, and I wanted to help at a greater scale. And so through internship experiences, I kind of got drawn to this work, and I think what I was most drawn to was the fact that there's so many different ways you can help with it and advocate and support for it. So that's what drew me to this work.
Starting in late high school in Arkansas, I had a group of friends that started talking about gender issues, and someone who was a couple years older than me started a little discussion group where we would just get together and talk about basic feminism. And from there, going into college, I was kind of ready to start engaging more with activism. And when I got to Vassar, I quickly found the feminist crowd and dug my feet into feminist activism and queer activism. And from there, I really found my entry point in anti-violence work. And I've just found that the women and the women of color who have paved the way before me are really inspiring, and I want to continue their work and their legacy and make sure to give credit where credit is due. And so yeah, this summer I wanted to start getting a little bit more involved with both direct services and policy and advocacy work around sexual and domestic violence. And so I transplanted myself in Boston, Massachusetts.
So the past year, my junior year at Framingham State, I studied domestic violence victimization in a few of my classes, and I actually dedicated last year to a project with a few other group members specifically looking at factors that increase a woman's risk for domestic violence victimization.
So I think that finally interning here is very much a culmination of a huge part of my life, stemming from the fact that I have my own history of domestic and sexual violence, which for a long time actually deterred me from looking into volunteer opportunities or participating in any kind of advocacy or outreach programs. And at Earlham, as an English major, I tended more and more to lean towards women's literature, and even more specifically Caribbean women's literature, which unfortunately includes an enormous amount of both sexual and domestic violence. And through that experience, my way of looking at my own past began to change, and realizing that this is everywhere, that this is not something I can ignore, that this is not something that one day I will wake up and not have to face. And I saw that in my study as an English major and in my work with early education, or my work in early education. And so I stumbled on Jane Doe really through finally starting to look for resources for myself. And when I started reading about the work of Jane Doe, there was this overwhelming pull in me to offer support and to throw myself into the amazing work that's going on here. And in a strange way, it's been very, I guess maybe the word is therapeutic for me, but which is not to say that every day is not day by day or sometimes moment to moment, but that that there is a certain pride and honesty that I feel about being a part of this advocacy program that I've not felt in a long time in the work that I've done. And so it's a culmination of my own history, of reading the stories of other women or other survivors, of learning about other family and friends that have experienced violence, and recognizing that when you begin to look, there are people there who want to help. That really got me into this work.
What drew me to domestic violence and sexual assault work is I had a lot of people that were really close to me have really awful experiences with their relationships, and that really hit home. So I really became passionate about the work, and once I started doing it, I loved it.